Okay. Welcome to our first episode of... Wait, what was that?
Wait, what was that?
Exactly. A podcast where we talk about those weird things that bother you when you watch TV shows and movies, and they make you go, wait, what was that? I'm Tilda. This is my friend Eliza. We will be taking it in turns to introduce topics in each episode of things that we've been watching recently that have bothered us, and it usually starts with one of us texting, I just saw something really weird in a movie or really weird in a TV show, and then we rant and rave about it via text to each other. So we thought, why not share our frustration with the universe and see if anyone else feels the same way?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah, so the inspiration of this first episode was how many weeks ago?
Like
2 or 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I started watching You on Netflix, which is, in case you don't know, spoiler alert, a show about a psychopath who becomes obsessed with a beautiful Master of Literature student in New York and obsessively tries to win her over and does really creepy things. And as if that wasn't weird enough, the thing that really bothered me was in one of the episodes, this main character, Joey, he's not with the girl that he's obsessing over. He's having a one-night stand with a girl that he kind of knows. It's his neighbor's friend from work. And they have a one-night stand. And in this post-coital bliss, this girl just gets up, bold as brass, doesn't ask a thing, walks out of the shot, and we hear the shower running. And I just go, what? What? Who does that? Like, you didn't ask if it was okay for you to go and have a shower. You didn't ask for a towel. You don't know if this guy has roommates. Like, also, guys' apartments, you don't know if they have shampoo, let alone soap.
Or a clean towel.
Or a clean, dry towel to give you. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm already having flashbacks to, like, Brooklyn Nine-Nine with Towley, the wet towel that lives on the floor. Like, that's his only towel.
Why won't it burn?
Because it never fully dries.
So there's a lot of presumptions going on with this woman when she thinks that she can just get up and go and have a shower, and he's totally chill about it. So I wanted to talk to you about it and see if you thought that was weird too.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's like, I feel people don't really know what the decorum is for kind of one-night stands.
Yeah, what is the social etiquette? Like, do you stay? Do you clean up? Or do you just get dressed and get out of there as fast as possible?
It's like finding out what the difference between a hookup and a one-night stand is.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the difference?
I guess it is you're comfortable enough to use another person's shower.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, it just bothered me. I thought it was super weird, and it completely took me out of the immersion of the episode. It was just bothering me too much to concentrate on, like, the dramatic moments of him being a stalker to this other girl. I was like, yeah, but let's go back to that other girl you hooked up with. Like, what's her deal? Maybe she's a hygiene nut. Maybe you knew this. Maybe off-screen you talked about this. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like, you can understand why it's not necessarily, like, in the program because it's not really relevant, but at the same time, it does bring up a lot of, like, social kind of questions of, like, what do you actually do? How do you talk about this thing? Like, film is supposed to be a reflection of real life, and this just doesn't feel right. Doesn't sit right.
It just did not sit right with me personally. I don't know, but it's one of those things. Maybe Americans are cool with it. Maybe you are cool with just casually using each other's facilities. But it reminds me of other shows and movies where it's just a given. Like, there's no awkwardness, not even in, like, a one-night stand situation, but, like, there's no awkwardness with using someone else's bathroom. Yeah. And, like, in real life, you're awkward about taking your socks off in another person's home. You're awkward about, like, oh, like, which bath towel or hand towel can I use? Things like that. I'm reminded of The Other Woman, the Cameron Diaz movie.
Oh, yeah.
When they're in the Hamptons at Leslie Mann's brother's place, and she's had, like, this really wild tequila-ridden night, and she's been, like, buttoned into the man's shirt.
Yeah,
and she's just, like, embarrassed. They're like, I'm gonna go take a shower. And I'm like, alright, but he hasn't given you a towel. And it's just an assumption that, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. So, I don't know. And another one, like, this is an old one, but in Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Miranda has this guy who's, like, obsessed with being clean. That, like, he just goes and showers all the time. Like, he cannot cuddle, he cannot do anything if he's, like, dirty, so.
But that's the thing, it's, like, also, I'm sure after you've, like, had your one night stand, it's, like, these women are just, they're still kind of pretty, gorgeous, their makeup's still intact.
Oh yeah, she did not need to shower, by the way. Like,
they don't
watching this show, you're like, yeah, like, that must have been like a 10-second roll in the sheets just to make the sheets look a little used. You haven't done anything to make you that sweaty. But it was...
It's just not very realistic to people watching it and watching film and TV and seeing what sex is portrayed as. And then people have this expectation of what it will look like, how it will go. And it's like...
Yeah, you're going to be nice and clean, and girls are going to have a sheet here, and guys are going to have a sheet here, and it'll all be fine. Yeah. And nobody's sweaty, and your mascara hasn't run, and, like, I don't know, you still have that, like, Bahamian glow about you.
I'm all for, like, female confidence and being kind of able to kind of do your thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for kind of people who haven't done that going into it, it's kind of giving them the expectation that there isn't going to be any awkwardness, that there's not going to have all these different kind of aspects that are waiting for you when you actually go for a one-night stand.
That brings us to, like, a bigger topic is, like, how much is it film and TV's responsibility to do an accurate representation of what life is like when you go out there, when you're a 20-something-year-old in university or, like, entering in the work life, like, what are the norms in dating? What are the norms in, like, casual dating, especially? Because if you're going based off of movies and TV shows like this, please don't have the dating life of you. That is really, really disturbing. Spoiler alert, there is, like, deaths and maimings and, like, obsessively stalking to the point of you peeing in jars while looking at a girl bathe. Like,
also,
that's not a normal situation. I hope the show has made it clear that this is an unhealthy relationship.
Word wise, kind of put all your social medias on private as well. Just
Like, I texted her during the first episode going, like, I don't think you should watch You because you're already paranoid enough about social media and stalkers on the internet, and, like, the way this character just, in the first episode, finds out her address, her place of study, where she likes to write, which coffee shops she likes,
who her friends are.
All of her friends, and she's, like, actively geotagging everywhere she's going, so he can just follow her.
At the exact moment that she's there as well.
So, like,
it's
word of caution, this is like a sidebar, this is like a Tilda and Eliza recommend kind of moment. Please adjust your privacy settings. Please think carefully about your geotags. Like, if you're at a music festival or like, you know, in a really crowded club or whatever, maybe it's not the end of the world to say, like, hey, I'm at Coachella, because it's, like, obvious. But if you're like, oh, I'm at the Starbucks on 4th, like, if you're gonna be there when you tag that, someone can literally rock up and go, saw you on social media. And this is what Emma Watson does. She doesn't geotag until she's left a place.
For a couple of hours.
Yeah, so that she can have a personal, private life. But that was back to our actual topic. Like, the responsibilities of filmmakers and TV makers, I guess, on accurate representations. Like, yes, there's a certain escapism and certain, like, fantasy element to any kind of film. It's not supposed to be a perfectly accurate representation. But I think we're headed that way, that we expect as an audience to see more and more realistic interactions. Like those cringy, awkward moments that you identify with are so much more powerful than these big romantic gestures where you're like, life is perfect and the sun's shining and the bluebirds are singing and look, there's my gorgeous man and look at me, I have my hair perfectly and my lash extensions and, you know, there are no body hairs anywhere. And
yeah, I mean, I think we're slowly getting there.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to kind of films about kind of one-night stands and TV shows.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I mean, in the past, a female who was going to have a one-night stand, she would be kind of a throwaway B character.
Yeah, if it wasn't going to go anywhere beyond a one-night stand, they're usually like montage moments.
Yeah.
We were talking about montage one-night stands as well, like How to Be Single, which is, we don't even see the guys' faces when Dakota Johnson's character has this like montage moment of sleeping around New York. But it works in reverse as well when guys go on like a fuck spree.
That's an example. I mean,
yeah.
We actually we have a protagonist, female, in a film.
Yeah.
And we actually are seeing her as like a human being. We're seeing her having an active like sex life, which is not something that you would have had like 10, 15 years ago in film.
Not even like, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
In 2009,
it's
Katherine Heigl movies, like, the most risque part of it was that she was a bit flushed in a restaurant because she was wearing, like, the kinky underwear that vibrates.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, and even that was, like, she was hot and flushed, but her makeup was perfect, and, like, yeah.
The thing is, though, I mean, even with that one, it's, with Katherine Heigl and that film, Deadly Truth, she was still, like, the good girl. She was still, like the innocent who was, like, having a wild side moment, but at the end of the day, she wasn't someone who you would kind of consider, like, sexually liberated. Whereas nowadays...
Exactly, like, she was, like, almost disgusted by the idea of, like, masturbation or casual sex or the fact that a man would want, you know, sex on the first date. She was like, no, no, no.
Yeah, but nowadays you get kind of films like
Women Have Desires.
Yeah.
Yes,
where
exactly.
Where films
and
saying,
female gaze is more and more prevalent in films, which I'm very happy about. It's not just about, you know, objectifying
It's saying women don't need to be ashamed for enjoying sex, which I think is such an important thing. Because
I don't think we've, like, crossed that hurdle.
No.
I think we're, like, straddling that hurdle now, going, like, I need a break. This was very high.
We're getting there, like, slowly but surely, which is, I mean, like I said, 10, 15 years ago, we wouldn't have had that. So everything takes time, and it's a good kind of stepping stone to the right direction.
Yeah. But I think in this example that has sparked this whole conversation in You, I think it was a bit of a lazy scripting decision rather than a very socially aware moment of, like, normal life. Like, I thought it was a very weird decision from the writers to get her out of the room but not out of the apartment, because a one-night stand would have just left. They would have gone home.
Yeah.
But because there was, like, potential for them to be romantically involved with each other, she didn't leave the apartment, but then we had a moment of him looking at his phone and still being obsessed with this other girl. So it opened that door that she might not be a throwaway character, but then when he takes his phone out and stalks the other girl, it's like, oh, she's not really that important in his life. So I think it was a bit of a weird decision from the writers and the makers of the show that it wasn't really thought through.
The thing is, though, it's like even having a little bit more dialogue between them when she left the room may have kind of...
She could have gone like,
it just would have bridged the gap.
Can I have a shower? Or, hey, I'm gonna go have a shower. And he could have said, towels are right outside. Or, there's a towel in there. Something so simple would have, like, I wouldn't have even noticed then. But because it was no dialogue, they were just making out, and then all of a sudden she goes,
The thing is, though, also, I mean, I don't know but surely when you're having like a one night stand, you won't necessarily know like the layout of the flat. So for her to automatically know where the bathroom is, it's like,
yeah, and like,
are you sure you're not the stalker?
Yeah, and it's made pretty clear that like, because she is his neighbor's friend, so she's been in the building, but like, what we see of the neighbor's apartment from their doorway is a completely different layout to his. He's got very much a studio loft type space, very open, no walls, and they've got like a hallway with a wall straight there. So it doesn't even make sense that she would know the layout of that apartment because she's seen a completely different apartment in that building. That's a funny story for another episode. Layouts in TV shows. We'll come back to that because #friends. What the fuck is going on there?
Like secret cupboard.
Yeah. Like where does this space keep coming from, and why is everything at a angle? But yeah, so I understand your point that you don't know the layout of another person's apartment. You'd go like, how many times, like even us as friends, because we've moved in uni a lot and now since uni, so we're always like, when we go to each other's places for the first time, we're like, where's the bathroom? Like, which like, door is it?
You're just pointing, being like, bathroom?
Yep. Is this it? This has a lock? Is this? Or do you have a deep, dark U-type secret?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I mean, you have little tiny nooks and crannies in your new flat. That's like,
oh yeah,
very creepy. Yeah. Don't walk down the stairs at your apartment in the middle of the night.
Yeah, we have a Harry Potter cupboard.
I hope you don't have an 11-year-old boy stuck under there. Yes. Okay, I think, do you have anything else to say about the weirdness of that situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because you can understand why they would do it, because at the end of the day they're trying to show Joe as being a character who kind of disregards other women because of his obsession. Like, he uses women.
Joey earlier. Yes. Moving on.
Yeah. But he disregards them, and he uses women in general until he gets what he wants.
Yeah.
So, like, you understand why. Like, he doesn't ask the woman why she's going, where she's going, because at the end of the day, he doesn't care. He's got what he wanted from it.
Yeah.
Like, he's still in love.
It's not back. So.
Yeah. Well, in love.
Well, in his twisted little way, he thinks he is in love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we have exhausted that topic. We can circle back to this. If you have any examples of weird one-night stand faux pas in film or TV, let us know. We might circle back to this topic if we get enough new material on it, and we might have to watch new things, which is always good. We're always looking for recommendations. And we will talk about something else next episode. Thank you very much. Please like us. And we'll list all the films we mentioned and the TV shows we mentioned if you're interested in knowing what it is we spend all of our time looking. This was a lot of rom-coms mixed with one psychopath series. So
yeah,
We
exactly.
do watch other things as well. So please send in any recommendations, any funny insights you have, or if you have a topic that you want to hear about, please leave a comment. Okay, bye!